Hi, how y'all doing today? One of the things that I found out is that when the owner goes on vacation and take their holiday, or we say vacation in the US, most other places call it holiday. Um, get off the I'm on relative what I would classify as vacation. In my particular case, it's I'm calling it a long vacation because I'm going to be gone for a little while. Guess who else is on vacation? The pet. Okay. So one of the things I've noticed is that a lot of pet owners will say is, and I'm just going to use Fluffy and Fido just as a generic term because I noticed that it applies to most pets that I've been watching, is they're in a different environment, a different they're being exposed, and you're going to see birds and stuff. And one of the things I love about where I'm at right now in Australia is there are different birds and stuff, and there's different sounds. Right now it's raining, and so my pets didn't get their morning walk out. I have 2 dogs here. They didn't get their morning walk out, so they're a little bit antsy, and they usually get their breakfast after their walk, but by it raining, they didn't get their walk out this morning. I went ahead and gave them breakfast. They were a little confused. I tried to just sit out in the front yard with them off leash. That's one of the good things I like about here, off leash walking for the pets, the dogs. And apparently they don't like to get in the rain either. So all this staring me down while we're in the house is just out of habit. So basically I went out in the front yard. They stayed under the carport. We were out there for maybe 3 minutes, and that seemed to satisfy their curiosity to walk. So we came back in, and they've settled down now. But that's just one example of the pets being out of habit, what they're used to doing with the home and pet owner. You're here, you're different, different rules, different boundaries. When I go out on a house sit, when I do a pet sit, my first, unless it's what I would classify as a urgent, no emergencies, thank goodness, but an urgent situation, I don't generally leave for at least a minimum of the first 2 days that we're on a pet. You need to kind of, for me, know what their habits are. I kind of watch their body language, to see how they move. Are they, most of the time, if they're sickly, the pet owners will let me know. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, is it something that I could do to help the animal, to alleviate some pain and suffering from the animal, whether it be light touch, body work, massages, energy, what I call energy. It's kind of like Reiki. It's kind of like Reiki, but you're focusing on, hot spots on the animal's body, that I could help, relieve that relaxing environment. I generally listen to meditation music for the most part. Every now and then I'll do old school. I started off doing old school and dancing when I first started doing my pet sits, and the dog that I had got so excited at the time. She jumped up, I was dancing, and she jumped up and she actually scratched my arm. She had nails, but she was so excited that I was dancing and moving around that it excited her. So I don't do that anymore because most cats, let me think. Most cats generally will walk away from me when I'm doing that. They kind of kind of spooks them a little bit, and they kind of hide because of, my size and the movement. They kind of get away. They're not as strong or as sturdy as a dog is, but yeah, for the most part, I listen to meditation music, which is what they're listening to too. And it's a calming atmosphere. Um, I've gotten to the point now where I'll ask the homeowner what what type of music does your pet listen to? And that way, most of them say whatever I listen to or whatever, which is usually rock and roll, a kind of a loud, upbeat, what I call agitative, uh, generally agitative music. Um, and I, for the most part, right now, I did, but being more in tune to my body, I've always liked classical music. So I generally do classical music or meditation for a more calming effect. And it depends on the pets that I'm at. If they seem to be agitated and constantly up, running around, and in this particular case, one of the dogs here is basically my shadow. On the days that I absolutely just can't tolerate it anymore, I'll leave for a little while and just get away, just put some distance. Because if I stop him from following me, he'll start whining and make it howling and making noise like that. And I don't feel like being pressured, no, pressured into that. So I generally just leave. And probably be gone for a few hours or something like that. So I'm drinking some tea here. I have some lemon. They had lemon ginger. They had a selection, and I chose lemon ginger and green tea, 2 tea bags. So let's see if I sweeten it up enough. So I used honey and their fruit packed in juice, and I use that as a sweetener too. Let me see what it tastes like. Okay, not too sweet. It's good. It's okay. But yeah, so the pets are on vacation too. And sometimes they'll stretch your boundaries, but you'll find out as you're sitting with them what you'll tolerate, and that's pretty much what I do. What my toleration level, and some of the stuff is sheer personality. Some of the things are I can probably mold them a little bit better. Um, but I don't like to, I won't keep fussing at dog when he gets to whine and stuff. I think I've been here now almost 2.5 weeks, and I think I've told him to be quiet twice. Once was this morning, and the other one was about 3 days ago. That's when I just left. I was just like, no, I'm but different things that they're used to doing. In this case, when I first got here, they were following me in the bathroom, in the washroom. I mean, they were both just, when I went to the bathroom, they would just walk right in behind me. I had to stop that. That one I probably stopped maybe about 4 days in. Just I decided, okay, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here. I'm here. And so then I settled for I would close it initially. I would close the door for the first, I think maybe when I started, for the first 2 days, I would just close the door and they would be howling and scratching on the door outside. So then I stopped that. And then I started closing the door, but not all the way. And now I could just, when I'm in the bathroom and they start coming in, I just hold up my hand and tell them stop. And they don't, and when they go back out. So, but yeah, in the kitchen, I've had to get them out of the kitchen. I've stepped on the the little dog, we went for a walk one day about not quite a week ago, and we went, had a great walk. We got back, and later on that evening, we were watching TV. I was watching TV, and they were sitting by, and he stopped, and he started limping on one of his foot. I don't know if he got a piece of glass in it, if he got, if he chewed on it too much, because they do. They're chewing right now. Stop. Stop all that. Stop all that. Okay. Yeah, they'll chew and uh they'll chew and lick on their paws, these two, until it's raw. So I don't know what that's about. So I basically told them to stop, and they do. They're pretty good about not doing that. Now I'm looking to see what the other was. I thought he was behind me. Oh, he's on the couch. Okay. But yeah, so their response, and I'm sure it has more to do with the tone of your voice when you talk to them. So I try not to fuss at it. Although in the deal with the kitchen, matter of fact, that's what it was. He had been limping around, and a couple of times in the kitchen, I almost fell when I turned, when I'm moving in the kitchen, not necessarily paying attention that they're right behind me, because sometimes they're right behind me. A lot of times they are, if they had been. But it was something I was trying to catch something, and I turned and I stepped on his foot, and was it the same foot? Yeah, come to think of it, it was the same foot that he had been limping on a few days ago. Before we went to bed that night, getting back to when he first started limping, and I noticed him licking it. I got a Band-Aid. I put a Band-Aid on it with first aid cream, like a triple biotic lotion, and I taped it. And this particular Band-Aid was relatively, it kind of stuck to his fur, so he couldn't pull it off without being in pain. So I left it on there overnight, and that whatever it was worked, because the next morning he got up, I noticed he was walking on it. But the other dog was very demanding. He saw the tape on his roommate's paw, and he got to just whining and getting behind me, just scooting across the floor to me, just trying to get in between me and him, and just licking and agitation and stuff like that. So they do get in this particular case, they do get jealous, and most pets do get jealous. I've had a couple of pets on a few sits, and they do. Whatever you do for one, the other one wants the same. I try to balance out the time. Sometimes it's not all possible. The small, I'll just call it the small and the big dog. The small dog's the one that hurt his paw. The owner said that they sleep in the bed with him. And when I first got here, they had doggy beds, so I let them sleep in the doggy beds. But then I noticed that the big dog started squeezing into the little dog's bed. So, and then the little dog got to a point where he wasn't, how can I put it? It was like he would come to the bed, because she was having to pick him up. That's what she said she was doing. She was having to pick him up to get in the bed. But when I went to pick him up, he kept running off. So I think the first 2 nights I kind of cajoled him and begged him and pleaded him and stuff like that, because he was standing by the bed making noise. I figured he wanted to get in the bed, but every time I went to pick him up, he ran off. So after I know what happened. One night when I finally gave up, and I pulled his bed near the bed, and in the course of the night, and Stephanie Perry talks about this on one of her last videos about habits that dogs have or pets have in the middle of the night. And I'll tell you this, I'm glad to know that I'm not the only one with these bad habits. aside, and you have to listen to her video. She goes, the only difference between what she talks about is the cat walking on the owners when they go to sleep. The cats will walk on their back, which honestly I classify that as a free cheap massage. So, but yeah, I'm glad to know, because I walk too. I move, I kick, I have to get up and down, running back and forth to the bathroom. The only walking I do at night is back and forth to the bathroom. But yeah, I moved during the night, and actually the night that I decided not to pick him up, I knocked over a pillow and it fell on top of his head. I didn't hear, and it dawned on me when it happened. Oh man, he's down there. And I had to apologize to him, because he had jumped up, and he was standing next to the door with the pillow, and by then the pillow had rolled to the front of the bed, where I went ahead and picked it up. But the next night, he did not, when I picked him up and put him in the bed, he would not get in that spot. I had his little bed on top of the bed, and he would not sleep in that spot. That's because he had slept with me before, and he knew about my kid. And when I'm awake and conscious, I pick up where my legs are positioned, the bed's at. But when I'm asleep, I don't know. By then I had allowed the bigger dog, because he had not been allowed in the bed. And honestly, I thought that was kind of unfair. So I allowed him to get up in the bed, but after the third night, he would. He got the. I'm not in the bed with her. She kicking and kneeing me in and out of bed and making noise. And we're all making noise, because when they get up in the bed, they snore. These dogs, most dogs. Let me think. Maddie was a snorer. Chelsea was a snorer. Who else? The first dog was a snore. They snore. Okay. Most cats don't snore as loud, but dogs, they snore. Even this little one here, he snores. They snore. And when they got up in the bed, they both of them went to sleep snoring, and I'm like, okay, so I'm not the only one up in here snoring. But anyway, but generally even when the owners tell you that they sleep in the bed with them, they'll get to know you and your body. And in my particular case, usually it takes maybe 2-3 nights at most, and they're done. They're done sleeping with me. I move at night in the bed. And so but yeah, just the habits that they have or don't have. You're new. They're, like I said, they're testing boundaries. Everybody's testing boundaries. You're testing your boundaries with them. You have to be malleable to them, because every personality issue, every animal is not going to get. Every animal is not going to get with your sternness, or, you establish boundaries. Most of the time, as a pet, they will respect you as a human being, but if you want to stay on the platform, you don't mistreat people's animals. I mean, if you want to feel ambitious, and if the pet owner says something about taking them to a park or the beach, the park is common. The beach is a little bit more adventurous. The veterinary or grooming, unless you know what you're doing, like their toenails. I don't cut animals' toenails at all. So I'm aware a lot of times they might be sharp. If I have to do a light discipline or something with them, I usually get a towel and wrap it around my hand and kind of slide them or push them or something like that to get them to kind of move out of the way or to stop or whatever. But cats are notorious, especially if they're outdoor cats, they're notorious for having very sharp nails. So, and teeth. So you have to have boundaries. You have to establish boundaries. If you grew up around pets, you know that. If I put it like that, if your pets live to tell the story of your pets had a decent life. So, and you don't need to do a lot of, you establish a few boundaries early, and most of the time they respond to your body language and your voice. So, but yeah, that's just one of the things that when the pet owner goes on vacation, the pet is on vacation too, and in their own space. Okay. And I talked about Stephanie's behavior. Now, part of my healing, and that's what this whole visit to Australia for me is about, is a healing sabbatical. I came back and I just started reading it, and it resonates with me about African goddesses. And I have to remember the lady's name. Abiola Abrams is her name. And it's a book that I am reading. It's on Kindle, able to get Libby here. Okay, so with your internet, and most of the sits that I've had, most of them has internet available. I was able to upload the book, and I started reading it last night, and it really resonated with me. It was so, just reading the title and the preface, the forward, and it was like, that is me. That's me. So I'm gonna take some. It's a big book. It's almost 800 pages, I think it is. It's big. Let me make sure I got I'm gonna give the proper credit. The very, very good book. The lady talks about how she was forced to be, her family, her parents were forced to remain secretive about the African spirituality aspect, and they kind of covered it up in African Goddess Initiation, Abiola Abrams, Abrams. Good book, really good book. And so, but yeah, I'm gonna connect with that. I'm still purging. I'm still, bringing in what I calling in the good vibes of the universe. And I've come to the conclusion that I am a god. I just got to find out which one. So I'm excited about this journey. But yeah, this has been just walking out. And I think I don't know if did I post that video? I don't know if I posted it or not. But anyway, just to make a long story short, being in different environment, being exposed to different vegetation, different trees, different, the weather here is decent. Right now it's actually winter time here, but it's not like winter time in the state. The area that I'm in, it doesn't get real cold here. It's a little cool today, but this is June. This is the coldest month, and you see the vegetation behind me. So, if you're anywhere in the States and Canada or places that did extreme cold, the vegetation wouldn't be like that in the dead of winter. So, but yeah, it is June here. Opposite seasons from the Northern Hemisphere. But yeah, but just a rewiring of my physical space. And that brings back some, just how can I put it? A reattachment, a remembering of who I am in this space called Earth, in this space of my body. why I'm here. I'm still searching. I think my exposure to what I was, my my experience is connected to that. And that was a dismembering, that whole process was a dismembering of detachment of who I am. And I'm pulling it back in, I'm bringing it back in. And for that, I needed to be in different space and different environment. So far, I haven't seen anybody here that I know that knows me, that knows anything about our family or nothing. It's great. But as I reconnect with me, that's also what the pets do, is I call it, by me coming here and they getting used to me differently, being able to do things that I put it like this, everything that the pet owner says that their pet doesn't do, or virtually every single pet has violated that policy. That's from the owner. So in that sense, I guess part of what I do is I call it rewilding the pet. And that gives me hope that I can also let go of boundaries and other people's opinions of me and limited beliefs, and reattach to something more positive, something that lends me better for my environment. And I like that. I love that. It's just that, the being around the pet helps me with that. And I see the potential with them. So I know that potential is within me. So, but yeah. Oh, my name is Deborah. I am the creator of the Radical Health series here on YouTube. I have a book. I'm a best-selling author, co-author of a book, Wisdom, Gifts, Finding and Embracing the Legacy of Our Lessons. And I talk about how I got here, or the early stages of what brought me here. I put it like that. I also do coaching for women of sexually dysfunctional families, and how they can advance to the next level, from wherever they're at, be it depression, severe depression, to the brink of suicide, up to being able to shed all that to get into the glory of who they are, realizing the goddesses of who they are. So I also house and pet sit. You can do that too. Honestly, this is a traveling journey for me, a traveling healing. And that's what I call it. I call it travel to heal. And that's what I'm doing, is just that. And it might be right for you. We can talk, you can contact me, book a coaching session. We can talk about if this is going to work for you, how you can afford it, and is it right for you? Some people are not willing to travel, and I get that. The birds are a little bit too close. Whoa. Okay. I like birds, but at a distance. Okay. They're pretty, but I like them at a distance. I like the sounds though, but yeah. But, book a session with me if you want to talk. And, it's a guided session. I have, we could talk about, stuff that you want to talk about, or there's a guide that I have and we could go through and talk about if it fits for you. Okay. All right. Thanks for joining me. Subscribe if you like. Notifications, I'll figure out how that works. But yeah, indicate notification, and when I go live, you should get a notice on that. And Trying to think, is there anything else? Did I miss anything? Like, subscribe, notifications. Any questions or comments? Post them and I'll respond, okay? All right, y'all take care. Thanks for joining me. Bye.